How about now? Well, I think it's working now. Had a bunch of audio issues last night playing Call of Duty, and I had to reset all kinds of stuff. All right, I think we're getting close to being ready. Y'all know me, fashionably late as usual, but hey, it gives everybody an opportunity. I saw that YouTube somehow or OBS set the date as yesterday, so I had to fix that. Hope everybody's having a good day. Happy Thursday. You know, oh, I'm looking at the wrong direction. Trying to put my little fancy screen back there so I can see what in the hell Bitcoin's doing. I saw Bitcoin had a little drop earlier today. I don't know what that was about. I was kind of hoping for another tariff and another drop myself. Payday's tomorrow. I got a lot of overtime on it, so I was kind of hoping I would see a little, see some drops dropping. What else is going on? Steve Vasilino's got a new t-shirt. If y'all haven't checked out my Twitter, go check out my Twitter. He's got a new t-shirt exclusive for my live tonight. I think he even said something about a buy one, get two free. Just set all my stuff up. I haven't really been through Discord in the last couple of hours. Talking to Professor Lambo from Entropy. Always something going on. Always something going on. What else? What else we got going on? Entropy. I had a half, you know what, agenda of stuff to discuss. Let me see what else we got. All right, so starting off with despite how you feel about Trump, it seems like the SEC. Why is this not working? For those who are still in Helium, it looks like Helium announced that SEC's lawsuit alleging unregistered security sales have been dismissed with prejudice. Filed in January 2025. I call this the SEC's last-ditch effort just to try to screw crypto before they were done. You know, Ginsburg, whatever his name is, knew he was out. So, like, why would you even try to even stir more, or whatever. He knew before then that he was going to be out. But, Helium, which has been around now for 5 years, they decided that all of a sudden they were going to be sued for being a security. Like this was like their last ditch effort of being absolutely stupid. Dismissal confirms that these distributions are not securities and the SEC cannot refile the same claims. And I don't see that being a even refiling it or anything like that. Hell, everybody knows H&T ain't worth anything as it is, so it can't be a security. Are not securities. So hey, this is a win. And kind of like what I said about XRP, despite how I might personally feel about XRP, you had to cheer on XRP with its battle with the SEC. A lot of abbreviations. H&T and XRP versus SEC and whatever 3-letter agencies want to get involved there, because a win for them is a win for crypto in general. And you hope you get some type of case law out of it or something like that, precedent. So I think that's a good thing. Elias says, hi, Grumps. If you have merch store, I'll buy your hat, your shirt. Mission Michelle, what I would suggest to do is if you can get into your first step is if you can get into your router, like if it's a Linksys router, something like that, if your IPs are 192.168.0. whatever your computer is, go to 0.1 or get into your router and look at the LAN, what they call the LAN table. You can do that and it should show you, a list of all the IPs that are connected. You can also download Angry IP Scanner or something like that, which is a free app that will scan all of the IPs on your network. Depending on what firmware is loaded on it, it should show up in the host name. But if not, you can kind of keep an eye on what's online, unplug the sense cap, scan it again, see what goes offline, something to that effect. Elias, I 10,000% agree with you. I also have a love-hate for Helium. I have 17 miners, I think it is, making roughly 3 H&T a day. 3 H&T a day at $5 each is $15 a day. 3 H&T a day at $2 is $6 a day, which $6 a day is not bad for what we've been mining with some other projects. But when you think that's 17 miners, that's a sort of the next tariff hours before announced. Elias, I don't have a merch store. All the stuff that you see here, Divazolino did, and you can tell them what you customly want on the hat. Bit Harvest and Godfather of the Golf, and Wingbits, and I got Entropy. We talked about that earlier on our Entropy chat. Entropy, I got that, and on the back I got my side business and stuff, and he can kind of cater what you want. The problem is him shipping to Australia. God, I don't even want to know what that would cost. I shipped to my host. I announced last week that I'm now going international because I will soon have a Canadian station online way up north, colder than I would want to install it. And these don't weigh but like, I don't know, 1 or 2 ounces or something, or something like that. This cost me $45. $45 American, $45. I think it was 65 Canadian or something like that to ship to Canada. And it might take over a week to get there. That is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. Oh, I heard it before. Yep. Yeah, Mission Michelle, I could tell you the same thing. Like my first miner, I tell everybody, I bought it off eBay for $5,000. And once we hooked it up, $5,000. And once we hooked it up, I ROI'd in 17 days. Me and two other friends went in on it. There was 3 of us. So we split it. But then where we screwed up is we just kept buying more and more miners. And at one time we had over 30 helium miners set up around the world, around the state. And they don't know anything about any of this stuff. So it was up to me to keep up with all of them. Over time, we've lost between hurricanes and power surges and rock pies that never worked correctly. So we just took them apart for parts. You know, I'm down to 17 right now. 2 or 3 of them in isolated locations that don't do much. And some are on top of 400-foot towers or buildings in New Orleans and Baton Rouge and stuff. And it kind of tells you how sad it is, because on top of a building on its own hex in Baton Rouge, one's next to a mall, next to 2 major interstates. So you're getting data, you're getting all this stuff, and you're still only making like 0.1 or 0.2, something like that, H&T a day, 0.3, something like that. It's sad. It's sad that even with 600,000 miners offline, you're still only getting those kind of rewards. It's very, very sad. And the fact that you still have people who are just vehemently defending helium to this day, I don't understand that. But you still don't forget, you still have your founders that they were making 750,000 H&T a month. Then we had another halving. So they should be making, like, if my college math fails me, 375,000 H&T a month. Your original investors to this day. That was even after they went to IoT and came back. That was confirmed. So 375,000 H&T times the current price of H&T. Let's see. The current price of H&T, 300. They're still making $979,000 worth of H&T a month. And you want to know why we're pissed off? That I'm making, with 17 miners, I'm making, and it's weird because it's exactly like 3.0 every day. 3.0, even though it's 17 of them all added up. And I'm making $8.39. Bobcats and Sense Caps are still working good for me. Some are still working. All of them have been wiped of their original OS. They're all running the Nebra, where you can pick your miner and do that. Some are running Bit Harvest Studios firmware so that it's multi-mining the helium. Wingbits do it yourself. It was Grass. I don't know what's going on with that. So Grass is still not working on it. They need to get that resolved. And some of these other projects, you know, like, it's been a long day. Yeah. You know, Curecoin and Honeygain and Pawns and stuff like that. So, yep. Elias, I can't dispute that comment at all. I do agree with you that some people to this day have never gotten their devices. Hopefully some were able to get chargebacks, but I know for a fact that there was a lot that could not get chargebacks for some reason. So, you know, and I've tried to tell people to separate, you know, when we talk about, you know, success or not success or anything like that. I try to tell people you have to separate the network success versus the mining aspect of it. The network has been a success. I'll argue that with anybody who wants to argue with it. IoT side, you have projects, WeatherXM, for instance, Demo and stuff like that, that are, you know, I have 3 Demo miners, about to have 2 more because I got a buddy who just doesn't want it. And I have to go pick it up tomorrow from him from New Orleans. He bought 2 a while back. It's a guy who has more money he knows what to do with. And he got in early and saw what was happening and just said, I'm not even wasting my time installing it. They're still brand new in the box. He said, you can have them. So I'll put, you know, one in my wife's car, one in somewhere else. But they're all working off a Helium network. You have the cellular side. Cellular side has been a success. got T-Mobile backing it. So for the network side of Helium, I'll argue that it's still been a success. The miners continue to get screwed over, but my opinion, do they care? They got T-Mobile backing them for the cellular side. You know, I don't know. CBRS, I think, was a complete failure, and they got rid of that. You know, so got Wingbits with crank beta. So weird because I don't have crank license. I don't know how the whole crank thing works. They got a good product. I can't bash them for anything like that. It's just something that I've just never really dealt with. Milan he's a character. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Like, I don't have nothing against him. I know that with the previous scam project we were with, them two didn't get along at all, and they would kind of bash each other. And the guy who was scamming everybody in the previous project is an enemy of mine. So the whole thing of, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my bestest friend. So me and Milan are best friends. Milan might not realize that, but we have common enemy. So that makes us good buddies. We might not go fishing together, but we're good buddies. I have nothing negative to say about Milan's project. I'm just confused, as some people are, that some things you need a crank license for, some things you're able to multi-mine for free. I don't know how that works. People have asked me about it. I've not, you know, I'm the Bit Harvest guys. I've kind of known them from, I know there was a little beef going on back and forth a while back. I've stayed completely out of it. I know the Bit Harvest thing was kind of a grassroots. Those guys on their own with no income side of it at all did it just to help people do something with helium miners that were bricked or no longer. They did it out of kind of the kindness of their heart. And there was a little beef that went on. I didn't take sides of it. I stayed completely neutral. So the people who contact me saying, hey, I'm doing crank with Wingbits or whatever like that, and they would ask me about like geosonars, I'm like, you know, I can't help you, but I have nothing negative to say. I know that Grass, from what I'm told, is still working on crank, but Bit Harvest is saying there's an issue with the repository they use for some reason because it's on a pod, but crank don't have an issue. So I'm hoping they get that resolved, but it's, you know, I have really nothing negative to say about both those projects. I have Bit Harvest running on 7 devices reliably, about to be 8. And other than the Grass not working for some reason, all the other projects, knock on wood, it stays online. They stay mining. Honeygain, pawns, I'm making good income with that. You know, I got a code in my description below if y'all want to get into Honeygain or pawns. Curecoin, we'll see. Bit Harvest is basically kind of similar to Crank. It is a third-party software that you can download. You burn it onto a little SD card, which I thought I had one somewhere. Oh, look, right here. I always have these things sprinkled around everywhere. You know, you put it on your little SD card using Raspberry Imager or, you know, one of the other ones. And you burn their image on your Pi. You put it into your Pi or your previous Helium miner. And it's a program that opens up. And you download it and let me see. I might be able to get to one of them. That's a good segue, man. Look at that. Who farted on top of it? So I don't care if y'all see the IP. The IP changes and it's passworded. So anyway, so this is Bit Harvest. And you can see at a glance, you can see all the different you know, projects and stuff like that. I got running on it Grass, Pawns, Honeygain, Wingbits, and Helium. And then if I want to install, like they have like, I think it was 11 or 12 different projects. I can go to install right here. And then you just choose the app. You know, if you're in Irwin, some of y'all are in Irwin, you can actually, you know, I have one Irwin ID. It's running on the ESP32 device behind me. I can go to Irwin, put in my key, and hit deploy. You know, if I want to run relay node, which I have no idea what that is. Some of y'all ran Mysterium. Pi-Fi. I know some of y'all into Pi-Fi. We've talked about it. I actually went and bought some smart plugs that I thought would be able to run on Pi-Fi, and I couldn't figure out how to get it on Pi-Fi. And then, I think it was Vaseline. Di Vaselino told me that I bought the wrong freaking plugs. But you would get paid for using these smart plugs, whatever. Some of y'all on Things One X. So you can, some of y'all in Fry. So if you have Wingbits with a geosigner, you already have a DIY device, you can put Wingbits, you put your device ID right here, deploy, and then you're mining it. You can go to manage. No, I don't want to manage Wingbits. I want to go to, come on. The internet at this site, I had to pick the worst site. It's on a building rooftop, but it's coming over Wi-Fi and it's slow as hell. And like I said, and then the ISP changes my IP. They won't give me a static IP, so that IP changes constantly. So you can see these are all the different projects I have on it. Helium Cure Corn. I can go to Wingbits and go to, and it tells me how many stations I got. I can click TAR 1090 and it comes up with my TAR 1090. And you can see how many messages I got and stuff like that. So that is, in a nutshell, BitHarvest. I don't know too much about Crank, whatever. Well, who thought it? I'd use this instead of a Pi. No, I'm sorry. I don't use a PC. I have one device somewhere else using a Pi. I mean, using a PC. But this is for your Raspberry Pi or your little potato. Instead of loading Debian on it or loading Ubuntu or loading something like that, I loaded BitHarvest on it. And then you run through the, you can go to, I have videos on it. If you want to go look at the videos, I have videos for little potatoes and pies and stuff like that. And it's basically, it's the firmware that you run on your device. So believe GeoNet will take over the world with the innovations. It's still very early. There are partnerships throughout the world in the mining sector here in Australia and mining companies in general. I'm very bullish on GeoNet, especially if you see any of my Twitter posts. You had was it founder or whatever of GeoNet giving a presentation somewhere in this room full of people and holding up a geosigner Wingbits device. That was pretty cool. Oh, let's see. I don't see my post anymore. Oh, somewhere there was a post with the guy holding up a Wingbits device, but I don't know what happened to it because I don't see the post at all anymore. I don't see my reference to it, but it was pretty cool. Tell you what, these BitAxe devices are all over Twitter from all kinds of people. It's crazy. I'm just not paying $200 for that. I don't know what happened to that post. Man, look who's front and center on my Twitter. That dude's got some merch. That's all I'm gonna say. And if he don't have merch, he's gonna make it himself. Got a little MCW 310. What else we got? There's an Ashler on Mars. You've seen it all now. You've seen it all now. So what else we got? GNet rules, bullish on Wingbits. I do agree that them merging, or not merging, but the two projects working together. I think people know GeoNet's very valid. It's a validated project and stuff like that. And you're seeing more momentum in the Wingbits. And that kind of leads me into my segue. So I appreciate that again, who fought it. Is you're starting to see more and more YouTubers, the professional YouTubers, as I call them, because, you know, this is amateur hour, as you can see, but I've never claimed to be more than that. I watch their videos and then I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, their videos look like there's a full production team, like a full filming, like they're filming a movie or something like that. These guys take it to a whole nother level compared to what I'm doing. But, you're seeing more and more YouTubers that are pushing Wingbits. There's a plus and a minus to that. I know what y'all going to say before y'all even type it. I already know what y'all going to say before y'all type it. More and more people who are smothering hexes, and I'm not going to say and deny it. Some of these YouTubers are explaining it the correct way. Some of these YouTubers are completely explaining it wrong. I'm going to tell you who did a great video yesterday, and I even contacted him through email, and we've kind of been going back and forth. And I have to say, first time I really watched his videos, I've subscribed to him. And look, I suggest y'all subscribe to him. He's a good dude. Some of y'all know him, some of y'all don't know him, but it was Hawk Crypto Tech. I wanted to make sure I got it right. I knew it was Hawk Crypto, but it's Hawk Crypto and Tech. And he did a excellent, professionally awesome Wingbits video, you know, and just the opening alone of what his video was with him sitting in the airplane. Like, I don't have that kind of imagination. And I got friends that own airplanes, but it never crossed my mind. And actually one of the guys that does that, does Wingbits with me, owns the airplane. And I never thought about doing one. I don't know if my fat butt would fit in this cockpit, but it was cool. It's cool to see him do this. And again, professionally made, subscribers, 500 something views. There's people follow him. I've heard a lot of people talk about him. Again, I subscribed. You can see I subscribed. I sat here and watched at work yesterday. You know, I got 3 monitors. I can actually do work and listen on the other side. And to some of his lives, and his lives are cool. And his lives just look so much more professional than mine. I'm like, I'm using a good camera. I've upgraded to a good mic. Like, why does his stuff look so much better than mine? But my only, y'all know me, I can find something negative in anything. I win $2 million, I'm gonna find something negative that I have to split half of it for taxes. But he told people just to put their city in, press enter, and if it says it's available, that means it's available. And that's not entirely correct. So what he told people was, let me log out of my account here. I don't need everybody seeing it. So let's see if I can redo it. He's telling people, you go up here to map and you search, and you can put, you know, like St. Louis, Missouri. And it says you can claim the location. Look, good news, location available. And that's what he's told people to do. And it's not entirely correct, because St. Louis Cardinals, I'm a huge Cardinals fan. I go to Missouri all the time. But depending on where you live at in St. Louis, if you live here or here, you know, and I don't know what they consider St. Louis, but you live right up in here, you're not getting a device in there. And again, I'll even argue that if you live up in here, there probably doesn't need to be another device. And, you know, we talk about this, and I keep telling y'all, I know some of y'all are going to be like, oh, here he goes again. Excuse me. My Diet Coke got to me. So let me drink some more. You know, I'll argue, do we even really need more? We talked about, I know I was getting as, I know you're sick of hearing me say this, but I keep telling you, I'm going to talk about this in every video. If you live up in here, there does not need to be another Wingbits device. You can see kind of what they're making. You know, they're making 100 right now, and 100 and 100. But the problem comes in is, what's going to happen when all these, and with the new, what I read also, I actually, Passive Crypto does a really good video also, where one thing I know about tokenomics is he's saying that, you know, despite how many stations might be covering this one hex, the top 5 are getting more. So even if you are all, you know, you got these devices around you, you have to do your best to maximize your height, maximize no obstructions or anything like that, because if you're in one of the top 5, you're getting more of a bonus than versus the people who aren't in the top 5, if that makes sense. But again, I'll discuss this every time, that depending on where you are, I don't think Sydney needs this. I know certain people here are going to be commenting from their backyard right here. I don't think Wingbits needs this hex filled in. Let's see what they've been doing. Let's see that this one, you know, has got to be inside their mama's basement or something like that. He's right next to the water, but he's only getting, you know, what is that, 80? When you got some of these other ones that are getting, they must not have the geosauna set up. This one's getting 30, but this one's getting 250. You know, I don't think, now I still question, why is nobody getting way out here? They should be getting 5 or 6 hexes deep. I guess the godfather of the golf's going to tell y'all how it's done, huh? If y'all in the water, y'all should be looking like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, my station right here is offline again. I'm going to have to take another 3-hour trip down there to figure out why. I got 2 devices offline, and I'm not getting rewards because their geosaunas are right here. But now this guy is back in town, so now I can ship this out tomorrow to Florida and at least get my Florida station back online. So we'll see about that. But I'm telling you, you got more and more people doing these videos on Wingbits, and what I was getting at is, I know some of y'all aren't happy with that because you're worried about, and I can understand, because I get upset too when I see more and more of these stations getting online, going online also. Passive Crypto Income, y'all know I follow him also. And he did a video today also on Wingbits, setting up, review and stuff like that, getting in early. But at least he talks about how the hexes, and you don't want to be on top of other hexes, and searching for your hex before you go any further, and see, and even talks about clicking on the hexes around where you plan on putting a station at. So I think that's good of them. But I said the pros and cons. I know some of y'all think this is all cons, and you know, but the pro is that to make projects successful, you need more and more coverage, more and more press coverage, media coverage, eye coverage, in addition to, you know, and he's talking about right here about GeoNet. So, you know, people who may not be familiar with Wingbits, but are familiar with GeoNet and know that that's a legit project, a very successful Depin project. people might not know about Wingbits, but they know about GeoNet, and him discussing that and marrying that back and forth. That's a good thing, you know. I know. New Wingbits dashboard does look dope. About Geo Pulse 129 and in 3 weeks made $75. The device is plug and play. You press go and you hear cha-ching sound when you make Geo. That's pretty good. Hexes are too small. I said a lot, especially when people can cross 200 miles with an antenna. Big Papa, while I don't want to say I agree or disagree with you, what I will say is the issue is just like we just saw, if you were just looking at the Wingbits website that I was showing, is you want to make it close enough that when you have somebody, not everybody's going to put the best install up. My sister wanted to be involved in the project because she was involved in that scam project before, and she had a device already set up at her house, so she wanted to stay in Wingbits. She has an HOA. She can't put an antenna outside, so we have a black antenna on her black downspout from her gutters that basically she's getting only backyard coverage. So my point is, she's not getting the best 360-degree coverage. And the issue with that is, if she was in a bigger hex like you're talking about, Wingbits would have detrimental coverage in that area because she does not have the bestest coverage. Trying to see which one's hers. You know, this is her coverage. She's getting 40 wings a day, but this is her coverage. So if you put her in a wider hex, that's probably detrimental. I mean, she's in ranking 25, ranking 21, ranking 17, So my point is, my sister having a minor, even though somebody who might be in the hex next to her might get all upset saying, oh, this person set up a minor, she ain't taking probably nothing away from him. If he sets up a better minor, if this guy right here sets up a better minor, which he didn't, he should be getting me. I'm further away. I set up a better minor and I'm doing 220 with these minors all around. It's all about you setting up your top minor. The way that the new tokenomics work is it almost doesn't matter if you have these other devices. If you have one of the top 5 devices as far as coverage, height, setup, you're going to still do well. And that's probably why when they went from the old tokenomics to the new tokenomics, my total wings from day one almost doubled. Because again, I'm on a rooftop here, another rooftop here, my buddy's 400-foot tower. God forbid, please don't let nobody come and rent out that space, because then I'm screwed. When this one's online, even though it's only 10 or 15 feet off the ground, it's also only 10 or 15 feet from the Gulf of Mexico. I'm getting damn near halfway to Cuba when it's online. You know, this one station by itself down here, when you look at it, it's still relatively close. But this station right here, out of 14 stations I have, again, on buildings and on top of a 400-foot tower, this one station that was 10 feet away from the water, 20 feet up high, is my best station. So listen, but I understand where y'all are coming from. I can't sit there and say I'm not. You have people encroaching on my backyard because, what happened to it? So this guy right here finally must have got his Wingbit station in, because he's finally online. So he's getting about 100. This is all marshland, so I don't know how in the hell he's got a station set up, but hey, he's got geosonic hooked onto it. Hey, like, there's another station somewhere. This guy right here is waiting for his device. This guy right here is waiting for a device, but there's one of these stations. Might have been this one. So so this one just went online. He had 17 tokens yesterday, 138 tokens today. And I'm going to find out who this is. Because I know all the RF nerds, the ham nerds, because I am one and I know them all in this region. I'm gonna find out who this is. But anyway, so look, it's happening to me too. Somebody came and looked at this map and said, you know what? I need to buy 4 different people, if it's 4 different stations. 4 people came to this map. I hope they came to the map. They basically had to and said, yeah, even though they got all these miners, I'm going to add a miner here. I'm going to add a miner here. I'm going to add a miner here. You know, I don't understand that, but I don't know how much more perfectly clear we can make it. You know, you know, I'm coming to check chug water, and I never can find chug water. Why do I have a problem? You know, for a place that I gotta find me somebody in chug water. What I'm gonna have to end up doing is find some farmer that lives on one of these 7 streets or whatever they are, and basically paying them to put a device up. Because if they're as rural as I think they are, this is all farm stuff, they probably don't trust crypto or electronic currency at all or whatever. So, but I see a hidden nerve with somebody because somebody mentioned like all these quality Depin projects, and then they had Fry's Crypto in the list, and I'm like, your whole list just went to crap because you mentioned Fry's Crypto. But hey, if any of y'all in Fry's Crypto, I wish y'all all the luck in the world. Vaseline came out with a cool shirt that I wanted to show off to everybody. My new shirt that's coming in. Here it is. New release just for this YouTube live tonight. Get your orders in now because this shirt will sell out before the end of the night. I'm telling y'all right now. Hot pick. Hot t-shirt. Depin chug water. With the Wyoming Broncos next to it. Come on, man. Contact the hammer. Let's map over England. Well, I'm sure they could fit one more in there. Come on. You know, come on, who fought it? You know, I'm sure they can use some D-Vaselina and shove one in this peg right here. I mean, I thought Amsterdam was known for something else, but apparently they must have a lot of free time on their hands because they're putting up with some Wingbits devices. 60, 80, 100. See, but this is what I want to tell y'all. Even with all these, look, I'm not saying that 80 is blowing the tops off, blowing your wallet up. But like, okay, so this guy's getting 4. You know that this antenna is laying down in his backyard. It's in mama's basement. It's inside an attic that has metal roofs or something like that. Because when you have these other ones that are still getting 60 and 80 wings and stuff like that, there's no reason why you can't either. If you can get a quality station, this dude's getting 125. And then what the hell is this hex coverage? I don't know. But basically it boils down to this. Wingbit station, you get the top, best quality coverage. You got people talking about already, they're getting the the WB200 or WB310 in their hands, and the first thing they're talking about on the Discord is, we got to change out the antenna. Why? You haven't even put it up yet. You know, if you have mountains and stuff like this, like one guy I was helping online, he had mountains 150 miles out. Any antenna is not getting you past that mountain range. He was getting planes up to 200 miles out with a mountain range in Central America, 150 miles out. Brother, stick with what you got. Now, we all know, and I'm supposed to be doing a video sooner or later on, you know, some top advanced type things you can play with on DIY devices and stuff, like the AirSpy minis and stuff. But hey, if you want to go and buy a 5.5 antenna and understand that it might make zero difference and you wasted that $50, then you try. Hey, that's what's cool about some of these projects, and why I was doing this kind of stuff as a hobby to begin with, is because figuring this stuff out and tweaking different things, and, you know, making your feed line and getting your antenna higher, but you can't put the little round dish up there, like tweaking all that kind of stuff. You know, with the understanding that, hey, you might go spend $60, $50 on an antenna, because you also have to buy an adapter, because there's a TNC on the bottom little circle. Your antenna is going to have an end connector, so now you got to put an end to TNC adapter, which is loss. It's signal loss. You're adding signal loss. If you're doing a feed line, I don't care how thick you make it, you have some type of signal loss. If you're going only 5 feet or 10 feet with LMR 400, yes, you're going to have a little bit of loss, but it's still loss that adds up. So by the time you might do a better antenna with a 5.5, by the time you add the feed line loss, and the adapters and stuff, you might still be getting the same thing as the 3 or 3.5 dBi that comes with it. You know, I'm supposed to be getting one of the WB200s, and I'm going to test this out for people. I'm putting it on top of one of the buildings, and I'm going to run it for, you know, a week or something with the antenna that was on it, and I'm going to swap a couple antennas out with it. I'm going to put the 5.5 directly on it. Then I'm going to put some quality feed line, LMR 400, something like that, 10 feet over it or something like that. Y'all would normally be doing 15 feet, and putting the 5.5 on it and see what the difference is. You know, I'm testing out an AirSpy mini with a cavity filter and the expensive LNA, and people told me to go buy the little cheap $7 LNA with filter from AliExpress, because it was going to be the same thing. You might want to wait for that video before you buy that. Also, the little black SDRs that don't have the LNA and that kind of stuff like that are like $30-$35. You pair it with the right equipment, they're better than the blues or the greens, despite what people said. You know, it's all about what kind of tweaking you want to do with your devices. Look, I understand you paid $400, $500 for those MGWs and those, you know, Wingbits devices and stuff like that. And you want to max it out as much as possible. I don't blame you. But you can also be a detrimental to yourself at some point also. You got people who don't want to put the round thing outside, so they're going to run this long feed line with an antenna and give themselves more loss when the dang thing is made to be outside. And I saw somebody in the Wingbits, and like, I hope, you know, if he's in here, I'm not calling him. I'm not going to call him out, so he don't have to worry about it. But you're creating more loss by putting 15 feet of LMR 400, if you even used LMR 400, with an adapter at the bottom, maybe even an adapter at the top by the antenna, so that you can keep the device that's made for outdoors, so you can keep it indoors. Me, I'd want to max it out to make sure I at least ROI on it. That's me. Amsterdam wants to use the Wingbits TGE to pay for more of the funky funk. So what you're saying is, those girls that I see dancing in windows in the movies and stuff like that, they're going to give you their Solana wallet. You can just transfer some Solana booby tokens or whatever the newest meme is, boobies and butts and whatever the goofiest memes that have come out, you know. My question is, someone's getting 10 wings a day and taking them hex and Ingo, which is 700 miles long. Surely we can provide the hex to be moved on. Go to work. Catch y'all. Appreciate it, Elias. You coming by, man. Keep it real. Thank you. 1 million 10 wings a day. Might stick around. The location will open. Future meetings say 9 wings a day. The average on it. But Big Papa, the question is how are you going to prove 100x if you can't set up a device in the same hex? And if you're in the hex next to them, again, like, while I don't care that there's people setting up next to me, because I know my 400-foot tower and my 2 buildings and my building in New Orleans and all that is going to, I hate to use the word trump them, but it's going to outdo them, outperform them. If they want to set up a station that only does 5 wings a day, so be it. But I guess if you live in an area that has, or you're trying to set up in a place where that person is in that hex, I can kind of understand your point, is that, if you live here and you don't have a friend or family member or a better spot to put it, and this person's only doing 5 hex a day, 5 wings a day, I can understand your point on that, but that's why you have to be early, I guess. I know that's not the answer you want, but remember, I don't work for Wingbits, so, I don't have to give the company answer. But I can understand your point. If you live right here and this person's offline, so either they're having an internet issue like one of my stations is, or like my other 2 stations that don't have their geosigner set up yet, because one place I can't make it to the tower it's on because the elevator is broken and I'm not climbing a 300-foot ladder because I'm not as young as I used to be, and it's not deer hunting season. And the other one, my host was out of town, so he couldn't put it up. So my 2 devices look like this. Station's offline. But I guess, if this person's been offline for a while, at some point it's going to come free. I can understand both sides. Yeah, but that, in a small country, 710 will do two a day, but likely they need coverage in that area. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, my boy that I help with stations down here, he ain't getting that many. He's not getting that many planes that go through there, but one of his stations is doing very well, 400. And there's not a lot of planes that go there, but he's covering those hexes. I don't know. I can tell you this: no matter which way you do those tokenomics, no matter which way you do the hexes, somebody's going to be upset and think it needs to be done another way. I think it's a lot fairer now than it was a month ago, because they're giving a little bit of a bonus to people who were here early, but they're also giving a bonus to the top, like one of these coverage hexes. Let me see if I can find one. One of these coverage hexes, you got these coverage hexes. You got all these stations. Same thing with, like, right here. You have all these stations. All these stations and all these stations are probably covering all these hexes. But this hex right here, the top 5 stations that cover this hex are getting a bonus. So, between here, and probably even here. See, but his hex ranking's 8. So he's not getting the bonus. Let's see what this one's doing. This one right here, he's 6 and 10. So he's not getting the bonus. Let's click another one over here. He's 16 is definitely. So this guy right here, somebody could be saying the same thing. You know, if I was able to put a station in this hex right here, I could do way better than what this goofball's doing. You never know. This guy's ranked number 2. So he's getting a bonus for his coverage here. 10, he's not making a bonus. He's just making the normal wings, whatever it would be. I don't know where and how much the bonus ends up being or anything like that. This guy is 1127. He's not getting the bonus. Oh, I think we beat that dead horse. They're not fair now. It would be good if there was a threshold of hospital location where if you don't meet the criteria, you can move in. Oh. But the gatekeeping of hexes, I don't know how that's how I can't. And look, I actually can speak. I don't want to speak for them, but at some point they're gonna have to come open. You can't. Either you're gonna have to put a DIY station online and keep it online. I don't know what the cutoff is for getting a geosigner hooked up, but at some point they're gonna say if you can't get your geosigner hooked up, you're gonna lose it. If it's been unplugged, you lose it after so long. And anybody else who's reserving it, they're reserving it because they have a WB200 or MGW310 on their way, or they thought was on their way. And, you know, they're getting their hex reserved from Wingbits because there is a device on their way. But like, if I don't have a device on hold right now. I don't have a DIY device. I can't just say, hey, I want to go to my son's going to college in this area next year without telling you where, because there's about 4 or 5 different colleges along this I-20 corridor. I can't go right now and say, yep, I want him to get this hex in Bastrop. There's no way for me to reserve that right now. If I bought a device, I can reserve that. And if I buy a device right now from HiFix using the Grumpy code, it would come in sometime around May. So it would be reserved until then. And if it gets delayed, Axie and them will reserve it longer. But I can't go set up a new DIY device right now and gatekeep Bastrop, right? If they disband geosigns for being offline, Asala, but you've been in these projects long enough, so you telling me that I can just gatekeep, like this guy's saying, if this device, you telling me that if I never ever go in to my plant, my silo, grain silo that has this on here, if I never get up there, you don't think you think I should be able to hold on? Because I'm not getting rewards right now since April 1st. I shouldn't be able to hold on to that for 2 years. There has to be a cutoff at some point. You don't agree with that? That at some point, there should be a cutoff that says, if I never turn this in, which what you have also is you got people selling these on eBay. So what's stopping me saying, like, you know, I ain't climbing a 300-foot ladder on top of this silo. You know, my buddy was cool enough because he owns the silo part of it. He's in charge of it. So he let me put one up there, but he ain't making one of his guys climb up there for me. So either I wait for another 2 or 3 weeks for that elevator to get fixed or whatever. But I'm telling you, I mean, at some point I should lose that hex. If I can't get this for another 6 months or a year, at least that's my opinion. He's a hammer, and so are you. So you have something called send the jab. I'm gonna work on chug water. I don't know. What else? Because I'm tell you another thing. Another thing is, just okay, goes. Let me take y'all know my favorite back scratcher for my ADD. I'm just gonna go and stir the back scratcher pot. So let me ask you this one. You know, I had somebody on Discord. They complain that they ordered the station from HiFix and they can't get their money back. And I went in that Discord and I called complete bull on it, because I see people who use my code. I still have people, yo, wonder why I put so many Wingbits videos out? Because every time I put a Wingbits video out, yeah, people who use my code. Now, I have no idea what they're putting in that. I don't know their name or anything. It just shows me people use my code. But every now and then when I go check it, because I only get paid it back once a month or whatever, I'll go check and see how I'm doing for the month. I see refund. And they take that out my money. So anybody who is online that y'all see saying that HiFix.ai or even Helium Deploy does not give refunds, they're lying to y'all. Now, maybe HiFix already shipped it and that's why they don't want to give a refund. That's possible. But I can see on my dashboard for affiliate codes where it says they gave somebody their money back for $400 something or $1,000 for a device back. So my question is this, as I mix this up. So when you buy a Helium Deploy or a HiFix website's MGW310 or WB200, you then have to go and reserve your hex, right? 3 weeks later, because you got these people there who are completely impatient. I ordered a device 48 hours ago and it ain't shipped yet. Everybody else is getting theirs, but they ain't shipped it yet. And I'm going to cancel my order. When they cancel an order, does Wingbits find out to cancel their hex reservation? I'm curious. I'm curious how that works. So they have already implemented 100-day unclaiming changelog yesterday. Let's go to the changelog, everybody. I keep missing that changelog because I keep looking. I look all the time in the announcements. I look for updates and announcements. I forget changelog because changelog is, to me, when they change something in the actual like software, if that makes sense. So first of all, I got to find changelog. So changelog. Let's look at this together. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. Tell you, actually, for somebody being sick, man, you sure are active. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so the change log for Wingbits. We talked about wallets are open again. I don't know if I actually saw my DM, but I had one little issue with wallets. One thing I did find out is if for some reason, I attached a Phantom Solana wallet. I don't know, it was a year ago or 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and was getting my testnet tokens. That wallet, Solana wallet, because it was my first Phantom one, has been given out all over the place. After watching a certain somebody who had his 12 words hacked and lost all his different ones, I wanted to create a new Phantom wallet with a new 12 words just for Wingbits. So if something ever is compromised with my first Phantom wallet, I don't want to lose the Wingbit stuff. So I went and created a new Phantom wallet with new 12 words. So it's a completely different one. And I wanted to know from Wingbits, do you have to pair your Solana wallet that you have now as the same one that you had before this update, say a month ago, 2 months ago? Because that's where you test net tokens. And the answer is no. This is kind of like a fresh start. If you would like to change your owner's wallet, you can put a new owner's wallet right now in your Wingbits wallet section. And that's what I did. Now, the issue I had is I had one or two wallets for host. And then when I went to change my owner one, it gave me an issue because I had those two wallets and I'm working that out right now. But you don't have to use the same wallet. Because I had somebody else DM me on Discord and ask that question. And I said, I got to find out because I want to change mine too. And the Wingbits team advised me that no, you can use a new wallet for your owner stuff and everything, all that will be updated. So Hex claim release. We have enabled the daily system that will release claims on hexes for stations that have been offline for 100 consecutive days. Stations that have been offline for 100 days that will have their exclusively reserved out with a 7 day for reserved with 7 day. So that means after 100 days, it goes back to a normal 7 day expiration. Station owners are emailed and prompted to bring the station back online within 7 days. We've learned not everybody checks their email. I thought that was bad at work. I've always said that, some of y'all don't like me lecturing y'all, but hey, that's why I'm called the Grumpy Dad, because we lecture. You're in a testnet project. How are you not in Discord? And I always have people say, I don't like Discord. I understand you don't like Discord, but at least go read the announcements in the change log section, because you're in a testnet project. You're supposed to be helping test this project, keeping up with the test and the changes. How are you not checking emails? You have people coming in asking questions about geosigners and stuff like that. Hey, life's busy. Maybe they had a life change. They got a newborn baby at the house. I don't know, making excuses for them. Good luck. So if the station's brought back online, it will reclaim the location automatically. If the station remains offline, the reservation will expire and a location become available. So in other words, I have 100 days or less than 100 days now to get my boy to fix his elevator at the luckily it's in the middle of an of a sugarcane field, the silo. So even if I lose the hex, unless somebody's going to set up a remote device, setup somehow in his field, I should be able to get that hex back. But who knows? I might be sending it to chug water. Who knows? If the station remains offline, reservation. To be clear, this is a look back mechanic. So this doesn't start affecting the network 100 days from now. I got to take back what I just said. This is a look back mechanic. So this doesn't start affecting the network 100 days from now. It has already emailed people and locations and will start opening up within the next 5 days. This was started Monday if they don't take actions. How I fix device reservations extended. Rather than continually evaluate the situation month by month, the team has opted to add 6 months, 180 days to all locations reserved for a high fixed device deployment. This means those that were expiring this month now have a reservation till October, and those that just purchased will have almost a year. Solution was chosen because it provides a generous window for all cases without having to spend resources. So all the people that, what the hell that was? So all the people that keep asking about, hey, I ordered a high fix device and my expiration's coming up soon. And hey, the person that the company that scammed me out of all this money and never shipped the device, and now they got to do a chargeback and they got to go through high fix, whatever like that. What's going to happen to my hex? Now 6 months. You got 6 months. Hopefully you get your device and get everything set up and you're good to go within the next 6 months. Hey, if y'all haven't did that yet, please hit the like button for me so y'all can help me out. On accord. Some opinion, please. Look, I've been so slammed at work. I went on strike against one of the things I do at work because I'm like, I can't do this no more. I'm 50 years old. I spent 15 hours of work on Saturday, and I'm 50 years old and not made to do 15 hours of work in a day. I didn't do 15 hours since the last hurricane. And climbing in and out of a bucket truck and doing stuff for 15 hours. Like I told my guys at work, y'all got to start either stepping up or we shutting down some of this stuff. My point I'm getting at is I'm so slammed. I have not been able to look at Onakoi is one I want to do because I have a GeoNet device and I want to add Onakoi and do a video for y'all and everything like that. All I can tell you is Onakoi, some opinions. I have not heard, not going with I've not heard anything negative about it. How about that? Some guys in the chat here, I know some of these guys have been looking at Onakoi because they have asked me to look at it. I am a huge GeoNets fan behind that project. And if it can be anything as successful, any part as successful as GeoNet, sounds like a good project. The little bit I know about it, you're supposed to be able to share the GeoNet antenna without being a detriment to the signal. And run both of them. I've seen videos and guys tell me they've did that. And that is my plan if I could ever get time. Just like Wayru, I have a Wayru device that's been sitting right here for 2 months, been set up. The firmware has been on the device, and I haven't finished the setup on the licensing because I just don't have time. If there's no chug water, look at my mainnet. We will do a meetup in chug water. We'll take it to town. We will do deal for Depin monitor set up everywhere there. I'm telling you, I hate the stereotype. I don't like stereotyping. But when I look at chug water on Google and Google Satellite and Google Street Map, and I also Google some of the happenings in chug water, I'm surprised they don't have tumbleweed still going through the town, and the bar don't have the swing doors and stuff like that. They're a little old fashioned, and I'm curious to see how chug water is going to react to, I don't know. You know, we've had several people say that we think the first Wingbits meetup needs to be in chug water. Just don't know how that's going to fly. I actually screenshot it. Mr. Glenn gave me a list of some ham operators that at one time were interested in hosting some helium devices and other Depin type stuff. I'm going to reach out to some of them, tell them that I'm a ham also. And hey, if you set this up in your house for a week, you might get a Lambo. Hot wheel car. You know, I don't know. You know, and basically telling them that it's going to be as strictly plug and play. You plug this in at your house and stick the antenna on your ham tower if you have one. Call it a day. But the list is kind of long, and there's a part of me that's like, well, Chugwater does have some stations 50, 75 miles south of it. So what about somewhere else that doesn't have 50, 75? So I'm looking at that also. What else? Just so I can change the subject a little bit, and we don't make this strictly a Wingbits thing. One hotel, Buffalo Lodge. I have actually planned out how long of a drive it would be from South Louisiana to Chugwater. And all I can say is my back and my butt ain't made for that 20-something mile ride. So I would be flying to go visit. My guy in Canada, who's in North Canada, I told him, don't worry about me coming to inspect that station. Because I'm Southern. I'm not built for that kind of cold. We shut everything down when it was 30 degrees and snowing. I just want to hit on Soarchain real quick. Soarchain did change their rewards, and I can't tell you what they, supposedly, I hate to get, my rule number one is I told you so, but I told them that they're going to have to increase rewards while driving to keep people interested, because they took away rewards while being parked. Hey, I told them I ain't got no problem with that. You just got to increase driving rewards. So they increased rewards for the first 2 hours, which again was a suggestion that I would say in the Discord, even though I got attacked for it, because you need to incentivize your people like me who just drive 1 or 2 hours a day, and not only incentivize the long-term Uber drivers, because that's the only people that were making money, fleets of Uber drivers with Soarchain. My problem is right now, I can't keep the dang thing connected. I make sure it's connected to my Bluetooth when I'm in my vehicle. It's a 20 to 25 minute ride to my work. When I get halfway to work, 3/4 of the way to work, I check Soarchain is disconnected. It's always got the little yellow thing that says connecting, and then it reconnects. That's on Bluetooth. On the way home this evening, same thing. Went to Baton Rouge for a meeting last week. You get 3/4, like halfway there, which was an hour drive, halfway there, disconnected. It connects right back. By the time I got to my meeting in Baton Rouge at the state office, disconnected, connecting again. And I'm like, this is BS. I've tried taking it off of Bluetooth and going back to Wi-Fi tethering. And Wi-Fi tethering, I have to use the box with the QR code, and it connects the first time, maybe the second time, and then all of a sudden it won't tether no more. It won't connect. I got to go through all that again. So Soarchain might have fixed the whole rewards issues, but the connectivity on that device is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Um, I might spite Demo and talk about how I've been in Demo now for 16 months and still have not ROI'd on my $89 device. And I'm going backwards. I was at 240 last month. I'm down to 210 last week. Now I'm 210 this week, or whatever. It's going the wrong direction. But at least with Demo, it's in my wife's vehicle, my daughter's vehicle, my son's vehicle. I don't ever have to worry about it. It just connects to my Helium device behind my house. They go to school 2 miles up the road. My wife goes to work 4 or 5 miles across Mississippi River, and it connects to my Helium device that's on top of my 40-foot ham tower across the river. I don't have to worry about Demo. It's just that they pay. Y'all thought Helium was bad. Demo is worse than Helium, if y'all catch my Monday videos. So I don't know how many of y'all are using Soarchain, but actually, I know you were late, brother. I was looking all over the place for that. I shared that Twitter today, that tweet, that X, whatever you want to call it, and yet I cannot find it now anywhere. Because I did a I can't find it. It was Mike something Horton. Because I did a post saying that I should have paid AI or something like that to hold up a sign along with the device saying, please use Grumpy's code at HiFix to get in early on this device. And that my whole post is gone for some reason. At least when I look it up, I can't find it anymore. But I thought that was cool. House Ag GOP indeed ran a very productive bipartisan discussion on how to fully support real-world application of Web3. Blockchain Association, Digital Chamber. Cool, man. That's some good advertising right there. And this is the post we talked about. See, my like's there, but my share's gone. Somebody must have removed it, man. That's some BS. So I need to make something right here that says 10% off with Grumpy's code at hifix.ai. This guy looks like he's looking at it like, I can make some serious money with this. This will pay for my wife's new Lambo. Look at him staring at the thing like it's a porno or something. He's in. Yep. I think that's some cool exposure. And see, like, I have a geo that's up here, and we have a lot of farmers and stuff like that. So, I wish I could somehow get this to them. But as my side business, which y'all know I have cbsynthetics.com, quick plug right there. But synthetic stuff, but we even do synthetic stuff for tractors and farm equipment and grease and stuff like that. These farmers don't want anything to do with it. They want the cheapest because of cost. The cheapest. They don't care if the grease, if they don't mind having the grease 3 times a week because they're using cheap grease versus using a quality synthetic that they don't have to use once. They will still, they don't understand they will pay more in the long run. My point is, getting them to invest in anything, good luck. They but I think that's cool exposure. Soarchain being connected for 6, disconnected 6 weeks. I don't understand it. 26 months, no that royalty sucks. Sounds like Fry. Let me tell you, I came very close to getting into Fry, and I'm glad I just, I don't know the whole backstory. I hate to sit and talk about the whole backstory, but I know that, people who invested some good money in the beginning with Fry was at 1.0. Some of them got completely hosed on the 2.0 thing. Then they wanted you to give up a bunch of tokens to get verified. And they always promise these crazy rewards for being verified. And from what I'm told, I didn't experience it, but what I'm told is that none of that ever came to fruition. They wanted you to give up your tokens to become verified. Then people were in the arms, and then they backtracked on that. And then all of a sudden they come up with Fry 2.0, and it's been a you-know-what show since then. They're using regurgitated, which, some people like the fact that they were trying to use some old computer hardware instead of going to the dump, but then the prices they were charging for it were like, you were cheaper getting your own device and just putting a license on it. So, and then Fry was involved in like everything, anything Depin, anything elemental that you can think of: air, sound, satellite, temperature, water, like you name it. They were involved in so much. They were doing, weren't they doing like ADSB at some point, or talking about it, satellite mining? And I'm like, y'all just got your hands in too much stuff. How y'all even, sometimes you just need to concentrate on certain things. But hey, I talked about Fry several months ago in this live, and yeah, people saying that they got completely hosed, and you had one or two people come to its rescue saying, I made $200 something with it, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing the licenses. So, can you make some of the Bobcat? Alexandru, I don't know anything right now with Bobcat other than if it's not working at all, I can tell you that I brought a Bobcat back to life with going to the Nebra website. And I can try to figure out what that website is, but the Nebra website that will give you all the helium firmwares and stuff like that. And there is a version for the Bobcat, and you can put Nebra. I'm sorry, it's https hub.nebra. And any of my stations that I didn't do for some reason, one way or another, that I didn't do like BitHarvest on, I use this Nebra website. And as you can see, depending on which station you have, Rack Wireless, MNTD, the Rock Pods, which are a complete doorstop, they're horrible. Links dot, and this is what I put on my Synchrorbits. But they got one for the Bobcat. And with the Bobcat, you can put it on an SD card, shove the SD card in there, but the SD card has to stay in there. And I got two Bobcats running off SD cards like this. Bobcat has zero help. I had somebody who wanted to give me brand new Bobcats, because I'll if somebody wants to give me a helium device, I'll go and shove it up. I mean, I got locations I can do helium devices, because all that's gonna do is help out my rewards. But they were brand new Bobcats, and the problem with brand new Bobcats that have never been plugged in is there's no more onboarding fees and stuff like that. I think Asala was really big into that. If he's still here, and can say more about it. So getting a brand new device, you can't just go and put it on helium. You have to go pay for the onboard credits now, whatever that might be. I don't even know what that is. I got a helium device. If y'all saw my video about 3 weeks ago from somebody on eBay, it wouldn't work. It was a sense cap, wouldn't work. And he wanted $60 for it. And I made a deal for him. I got it for 30. It told him, hey, if I can get the helium side working again, I'll send you 12 H&T. Back then, H&T was worth like $3. And he's like, that's cool. Nobody ever offered that before. And I was straight up with him. I got it in, took out the old sense cap. I mean, the Syncrobit. No, it wasn't Syncrobit, sense cap. It was a sense cap device. Took the old card out, loaded up the, I don't know, wherever the hell sense cap is on here. Sense cap right here, right in front of me. Downloaded this right here, download image, use Belina Etcher, programmed it on the card, shoved that into the sense cap. Boom, it pops up with a dashboard for Nebra Hub, gives you the station's name. The guy transfers it to me on my Helium app, and then I sent him 12 H&T for it, which, again, I'm making 3 H&T a day right now, so 4 days worth of H&T for it. I told him if he has another one, he does have another one, let me know. But now he wants to go and try this Nebra thing. Because with the Pi in them, you still can use them for something. I can have it as a backup. My ham tower behind my house took a lightning strike over the weekend. I ain't told you all about that joy. I've been dealing with that and fried my stuff inside of it. Now, it's grounded the hell out of it's grounded. All the feed lines are grounded. The Cat 5, Cat 6 Ethernet coming into my house is grounded. It's got all little grounding blocks on it. And I grounded the shit out of it with 3 or 4 ground rods in a row. Watching how, some of these other companies do it. And so yes, we try to tell y'all, people ask about grounding every now and then in Wingbits and different forms like that you're not going to save your device, chances are, with a lightning strike. You just want to minimize as much damage as possible. That stuff goes into a switch in my house that this brand new computer's on. I got lucky, it burnt the switch port, that one port it was on, and stopped right there. And everything else must have went out through the ground rods. I had to replace the Pi in it that had a Wingbits in it. And that was basically it. So I got lucky on that one. But I could tell you what, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, the first day I was able to sleep in probably 20 something days. That must have been Sunday, whatever, the Sunday. My first day off since before Mardi Gras, which is almost a month. I get to sleep in finally. I was so great. It was so great. And sure enough, 8:30, that lightning strike happens 75 feet behind my house. And it was a colon cleanser. I had a ham antenna. I got pictures one day. I know I'm losing some of y'all, but I have pictures somewhere where I was standing outside, and we used to have a pool in the backyard, and my kids were little bitty, and all their thunderstorm was a mile away. Y'all heard these wives' tales. That's what I'm telling y'all. Maybe it saves one of y'all's life one day. A mile away. The front of my street is 1 mile from my house. I'm looking at the radar. Everything's north, and it's following the road east to west, north, a mile. But it was windy as hell. My kids' inflatables, they're not picking them up. I'm trying to collect them, and I had a ham dipole. If y'all familiar with ham dipoles, that's the wires that go across, and then the feed line that comes down to the ground, and then goes in. Luckily, my ham radios were all disconnected and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, that lightning went through that dipole, and that is the best colon cleanser that God has ever created. I can still hear it. I thought I was deaf after that. I saw a white light and thought my time had come to go meet Jesus. And again, that storm was over a mile away from my house. And I have pictures where my dipole and the transformer and everything that shattered into pieces. And there was about a 2-foot hole in the ground. It was no more than this big, but where that feed line kind of went and curved in by the ground, it blew out the side of the feed line and it went in the ground. And I'm telling y'all, I have a new appreciation for grounding after that. And that's why every one of my 14 Wingbits stations have grounding on them. I've told y'all about grounding. I've did videos on grounding, and they're all grounded to something. And this is a perfect example, is that my ham tower in my backyard that has stuff connected into this house was all saved. I mean, that's the only thing you can figure, is that grounded the hell out of it. And you got these old timers and these ham forms, these old timers say, you don't need to ground that stuff. When you ground that stuff, it attracts lightning, because lightning's looking for ground. If you ain't grounded, you don't have nothing to worry about. Yeah, well, I got a brand new $1,200, well, it ain't brand new now, IC 7300 ICOM ham radio, HF radio right here. $1,200 radio. Yeah, it's easy for you to say that with a computer that took me 6 months of paydays to pay for. I totally trust grounding. If y'all not using polyphasers on y'all's antennas and y'all not doing grounding, God bless you. That's all I can say. Because it will find a way inside. It will find a way inside. So it better be grounded before it goes in your house. Grounding for the regular. Helium dropped the onboard assertion fee to $10 and $1 respectively, is to believe. Blair says he's still sitting on the front door waiting on his Hive Mapper beat. He's like that. He's like that commercial looking through the window, waiting for his Hive Mapper B. So Blair, if you're still here, I'm just noticing that. Has anybody gotten there? Has anybody yet gotten there? Like, are y'all seeing them drop? Like, I canceled mine last November. I tell everybody that. Probably one of my few smart decisions in my life. Got my money back for that and bought some Silencio, some Solana and some other stuff with it. Yeah. I don't know. I hope some of y'all saw my video. I don't do them videos very, very often, but I did a video just because I'm trying to break up the monotony of the same type of videos over and over. And I actually did a video because I was looking for myself with that huge drop in crypto we had over the weekend. Like, all the cryptos went down, but which ones have the best chance of making more than, 3 or 4 or 5x? And there was several tokens, and I hope y'all watch that video, because I'm telling you, I bought some VET and some VTHOR, and I'm up. Even with the drop that happened again today, I'm up. Tomorrow's payday, I'm DCAing into some peak. Let me see where VET's at now. So, yeah, I'm up a little bit. Ain't nothing to, VET, VTHOR, AVAX. It's all looking good, man. It's all looking good. Probably just need with my daughter having prom last week. You would not expect. Maybe some of y'all have teenagers, but what I had to end up paying and my wife ended up paying for prom stuff. Prom, oh my God, that was more expensive than it is now. And getting stuff together and paying for stuff for my son with college coming up and stuff. It's crazy. Graduating high school. I don't have a lot, but my paydays, I'm still DCAing into my stuff. So like Solana right now at 100 something. I didn't include Solana in my video because I was trying to keep stuff around, 10Xs and 15, 20Xs. Solana right now getting back to all-time highs at 3X, if that. So I didn't include it, but I'm still DCAing into that tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm again buying more VTHOR and all that. VET. I'm buying VET, VTHOR, buying my peak, buying some Solana, and I don't know what else I'm gonna buy. I'm either gonna buy Bitcoin or AVAX. I transferred some other tokens. This is right here. This is WIF, and I transferred some other older tokens I had that, even though I took a loss, I don't care. I wanted to get some more WIF. I brought up WIF. WIF was at 4 something at one point. And WIF's at 30 cents down here. I jumped on some WIF. I know the meme coin thing, but there's a huge art, and I wish I could find it, but I don't want to waste y'all's time. There was a good article and a good comments on the meme thing that people want to, and I shared it on, pretty sure I shared it on Twitter, talking about like people are just so against memes nowadays and stuff like that, but they're almost like a necessary evil. It's still part of the whole crypto community and stuff like that. And WIF is one of the first tokens, meme tokens I brought up, 2 Christmases ago when I went 4 for 4. I think it was 4 for 4 on meme tokens every month, one each month. I went 4 for 4. That if you got in and kind of got out 2 or 3 weeks later when I talked about it, we did very well, very well. I think we got in at WIF at 23 cents, 24 cents. And we sold it at like $3, $4. So I'll try it again. This was at 30 cents, 31 cents the other night, WIF, and move some tokens. So technically, it ain't cost me nothing. Now, if I DCA into more tomorrow, it's going to cost me, but I'll still take a chance. 37 cents for one of Solana's biggest meme tokens. That was at what, top 25 at one point. I wasted money on other stuff before. If I install a second GeoNet antenna in a location, do I still receive the maximum? As I'm pretty sure, as long as a second GeoNet antenna in a location in a hex that already has a GeoNet, I don't believe so. They got some other guys here that can expand on that, but I'm pretty sure that if you're number 2, you're not going to get maximum on that one. I don't know, if the first station is only getting like 24 out of 35 satellites and you go out there and get 35 out of 35, I think you might, but I got one GeoNet station. I know I do very well, making $6 or $7 a day, whatever it is on it. And I know they got paying customers. You see the super hexes and stuff like that. I wish I had enough geo. I know some people are making very good money on staking the super hexes. It's one thing that I have not discussed in any videos, because you have people who just watch the Discord and just hit refresh for announcements on staking hexes that I've wanted to do one, and I don't catch them in time. Like so people must be doing very well staking super hexes. I would love to install one in a super hex, but they're never close enough to me. They had one that was kind of close to me, and before I knew it, they had 2 stations there. I don't know if people are just moving their stations from super hex and then when it expires, moving it to another super hex, or if they're buying a new station. Hopefully they're using the code TheGrumpyDad, on highfix.ai. But if so, I'm contemplating getting a, at first I was going to get a MGW310 combo device, but now I'm getting a WB200. I wanted to put another GeoNet. I got a location in Baton Rouge where hex is open, so I really would like to try to get another GeoNet station. They're not cheap, but I feel confident. I have a little bit of money on the side because y'all know I wanted to buy another Chirp device. I refused to pay scalper's price. That whole Chirp thing with buying an NFT and they're selling an NFT, and then because the scalpers can buy the NFT for Chirp miner, turn right around within seconds after buying the NFTs when they get released by Chirp, turn it right around with zero effort, and then charge $400 more. The $800 for the NFT, another $400 for scalping. And they need to stop the NFT thing. They need to stop it, because if those people had to pay $800 for a physical device and wait for it to come in and then try to turn around and scalp it, they'd have to take the risk of not being able to sell that device. But with an NFT, there's no risk, because they don't have to worry about shipping it out and getting it in, and who knows what country they're in that they have to worry about, tariffs and 120% tariffs or anything like that. They don't have to worry about that with an NFT. They just buy it and resell it. So I appreciate everybody who followed. We're going on an hour and 40 minutes. It was a cool live. I appreciate it. Make sure you'll hit the like button, and I'm going to eat, because again, I get right home and change shirts while I'm trying to start my computer up. And I was actually on time this time. I did my countdown, and I was here when my countdown was done. That's how y'all know if I'm here on time. If y'all see my countdown counting down, that means I'm here and I'm ready on time. If y'all don't see my countdown, y'all can expect that I'm going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. That's my life story. So I appreciate it, everybody. I've contemplated possibly changing this date and time, because one of the other YouTubers, one of the influencers that we follow on X and all that stuff like that, and Depin, he also does one sometimes on Thursday that I would like to catch. But I think that no matter what night I try to do this stuff, this is a good segue. Monday I do my big update videos, and then Thursday I can catch y'all for any kind of other updates before the weekend comes. So that's why I'm just gonna keep this at Thursdays. But I want to start working on a video for kind of discussing what's going on with Soarchain. I want to do a video on my thoughts on all this testing I've been doing with the black SDRs with a LNA with a filter versus a green SDR versus a AirSpy Mini, and kind of give my thoughts on that. I'm also testing, and I hope Axie's not here no more. I don't think he's here no more. I can say this. I had one, and I'm not gonna say what location it is because y'all know I got several locations, but I have one where the people who were in charge of the building insisted that if I'm gonna put a Wingbits device up, I also have to put a device that everybody can access for free. Basically, I had to put a FlightAware or a radar box, or you name one of the ADSB flavors. And what I'm doing with that is I'm splitting the antenna feed when it comes down. When it comes down, I bought a Y splitter, and I got Wingbits in one, and I have radar box or whatever it is, FlightAware in the other one. And at first, when I installed it, because I wanted to see how this location was going to do, I kind of accidentally forgot to turn on the FlightAware device so I could kind of get a week or two reading. And then they kept asking me, well, we want to see this FlightAware. We want to see FlightAware. We want to see FlightAware. Because they know I couldn't give them all access to Wingbits. They wanted to see the fancy GUI and stuff. So I end up having to go plug in the FlightAware, and you have to wait to see the video for the results on how detrimental it is. Because I'm not exaggerating, at least 4 or 5 people over the last several months who also wanted to run that same setup. Wingbits to support Wingbits, but they had to run FlightAware because of one reason or the other, and they kept asking me how detrimental it is. Some people can't put 2 antennas up. This location don't want me to put 2 antennas up. I don't know what I'm going to do, if you can read between the lines, because I can't keep it the way it's going right now. So I'm working on a video for that. I just don't want to be kicked out of the Wingbits fan club for that. But sometimes you don't have a choice. If that's what your host wants and says, hey, you can put this here in this building that's this high up, but in case anybody inquires, I want to be able to tell them that you're doing this as a free project also. We don't care if you're making something off Wingbits, but you're also offering a free service for anybody else who wants it, including us, so we can look at FlightAware. And that's what their stipulations are. But they don't want a host agreement. So whatever I make with Wingbits, I'm making 100%. But I also have to support FlightAware. You do what you got to do. And that's, unless y'all disagree with me, a host agreement where I get 100%, but I also have to support the other people. Robin is just going to have to not share his pineapple pizza with me, because it is what it is. But people have asked about combining an antenna. I got one where on a bit harvest device where I was only allowed to put 1 antenna up. So that splitter has, don't cringe, because this is one of those, as a dad, grumpy dad, but dad, do as I say, not as I do. Because I will tell people vehemently in Discord, don't do this. But I'm actually using that same type splitter coming off the helium radio on a device and the Wingbits SDR, sharing 1 antenna. I'm using a 1090 antenna because I'd rather have the better Wingbits reception versus the helium reception, because there's enough helium devices close enough. I don't have to be that. And I also put several filters in line that the 915 should be cut enough that this one's only getting 915 and this one's only getting 1090. But it's cringe, but it is what it is. Sidewander's waving. How you doing? But see some of y'all dropping out. Yep, I'm talking too much. So again, my food's probably freezing cold. I got a brand new bottle of Bywater bourbon from 7-3 Distillery. Y'all know I'm really big on them. Actually, I shared something on Twitter with them. Twitter's this way, dude. Y'all make sure y'all join my Twitter. Please make sure you press the like button. Please make sure you hit the subscribe. I'm very, very close to 30,000 subscribers. 30,000 subscribers. I might send you some fry tokens if I get the 30,000 subscribers. Anyway, actually, I think D. Vasilino said he was going to send you one of these cool shirts. When I hit 30,000 subscribers and you live in the United States, somebody's going to get a Depin Chug Water shirt. That's right. I know. A lot of y'all are really going to push my channel and tell everybody to subscribe now, right? I really need to start doing some kind of incentive to get my Twitter X to grow. So if y'all know some type of not scammy way of building my Twitter X, I've been trying to be very active on it lately and not just sharing, Wingbits or entropy stuff. But Twitter's been a little bit harder. So I don't know. But I appreciate everybody who supported the channel. I try to be as real with y'all as possible. Y'all know that. And, I'm trying to keep the negativity and, me attacking some people who attack me type of stuff. I've been trying to keep that to a minimum. I'm trying to watch these other YouTubers and try to take some of their leads, that you just don't bother with the people who say that you don't know what you're talking about or people that are completely wrong. And I'm trying to lead by their example, without being also too scammy. Like I watched a Wingbits video. I'm not gonna say who it was. I found several Wingbits videos today. I know I'm still talking, but one of them was just cringe. It was like telling people that you're gonna make this kind of money. You have no idea in this project what you're gonna make. None. But the two videos I mentioned earlier, but Hawk, Tech Hustler did one a while back. Passive income. They didn't promise y'all any kind of income. They were decent videos, professionally made, and he did the Wingbits projects are good. A solid. But there are some videos out there. People like you could make X. I don't want to say a number to y'all because I don't believe that. Several of y'all have asked about possible token pricing. I'm not going there. Y'all know I don't like going there. I don't even like really doing the video I just did about 4X or 5X or 10X in tokens. But if you look at the history, that's why it's easy for me to say that. I'm not making that suggestion with Wingbits. You can go look at other $10 billion supply projects and get a range of what you think they could be. Some got 1 0 in the front. Some got 2 zeros in the front. Some got no zeros in the front. Pick a number. Aim for the very, really low side and then be surprised if it goes higher than that. That's what I'm doing. Just keep on mining it every day. But I'm telling y'all, I tell this to Axie all the time, that he's going to have to ban me on Discord because when these people come in and this token's worth this at TGE and people going to come in there and say, I've been busting my butt doing all this mining and all I'm making is 2 P's and a shoestring worth of this for this, I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to lose it. And I'm going to have to get punished and timed out on Discord. And everything I just said 5 minutes ago about being professional is going to go out the window. So, who farted? Who farted said it, not me. I could wish I could see in the future, but I think you're high, brother. I think you're high. I think you need, if you take that 0.10 and move the decimal over with a 0 in the front, I'm hoping, but don't know. You don't know. You don't know. I think, and people need to understand, and I swear to God, I'm getting offline, guys. I see y'all dropping, but people need to understand as people are on here complaining about, you said we're going to TGE in Q4 of last year and Q1 this year, Q1 ended. Listen, I want them to go to TGE and mainnet more than anybody. I've took vacation from work to work on these things, driven 2 and 3 hours several times in a week to go back and fix stations, driven from one side of the state to put geosigners to the other side of the state to geosigners, paid $40 just to ship a thing all the way to Canada. Trust me, nobody wants to go to mainnet other than that team than me. But I also don't want them to rush it, because if you say, somebody contacted me today about what they're talking about, they don't want to release this TGE until the market's right. Because if the market's in the middle of a free fall and you go and you add TGE here and then it continues to drop, people are going to automatically assume it's a crap project because of tokenomics. We watched that with Silencio and these other ones. So you have to somewhat release that TGE when the market's doing this, or hopefully doing this. And I'll still say that's one reason why helium went from 25 or 30 cents, 40 cents, $1 when I first got into it to $40, $55, because they got in 2020, whenever it was, at the beginning, end of that bear market, beginning of that bull market, before all that craziness went up. And that's, you hope that timing happens. This one, you hope that Tyler, who I watch on YouTube, says that saying that I hope it's true, where you're in temporary pain now for long-term gain later. And that's what you can only hope for. This is all a crapshoot. This whole crypto thing could be gone tomorrow. And that's why we tell people, don't invest money in this that you can't afford to lose tomorrow. Don't skip on your electric bill to go buy a Depin device. Don't take a loan out to go buy Depin or to go buy crypto. You can't. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go. It's almost 9 o'clock. Got to go eat something, warm up the Call of Duty, new Verdansk. Hey, I love Verdansk because it got bots, and bots don't know how to shoot back. So we doing good in Verdansk. Me and Fluffy, if y'all know Fluffy from my AMAs, and the Helium, back in the Helium times, who shot Fluffy and all that, David. We doing Verdansk is fun again. Call of Duty's fun again. Cheating's not as bad, and the bots don't know how to shoot back. It's great. So thank y'all for watching. Be some more videos coming up. Got a couple ideas for some, and I hope everybody hit the like button and the subscribe, and please join Twitter X. Go check my other YouTube channels, Grumpy Dad Outdoors and stuff like that. And I appreciate again all the support. So it's fun. It's been a fun ride, and hopefully we can all come out of this with Lambos if you want them. I'm too fat to fit in the Lambo, but looking at some of them fishing boats that I've always wanted at that sportsman show last week, I think a Lambo's cheaper because boats are getting stupid. So thank y'all for watching. See y'all on the next video.